This is Tracy reading to you from the Sun Chronicle on Thursday, August 28th, 2025. Former mayoral candidate says he's appealed. Barone fighting decision to drop him from city ballot by Rhiannon Watkins, Attleboro. Timothy Barone says he has appealed a city election commission decision to strike his name from the voter registry, effectively keeping him off the November 4th ballot. Barone had returned nomination papers to run for mayor as well as councilor at large, but the commission voted 4-0 on August 14th to keep him off the ballot after finding there wasn't enough evidence that he is a resident of Attleboro. The decision left incumbent Kathleen DeSimone as the only mayoral candidate on the ballot. Attleboro resident John Robinson said this week that he is planning to run a write-in campaign for the seat. In a text to the Sun Chronicle on Wednesday afternoon, Barone said he has, quote, taken the election committee and their illegal actions to Superior Court. I have a right to vote and run for office. I have never moved or been evicted from my Attleboro residence. Anything else is feelings or thoughts. Are not the laws we are bound by to be enfranchised to participate in our government. Barone had told the commission following their decision that he planned to appeal. The commission's vote came after a Florida resident named Jason Purdon filed a complaint stating that Barone had been leasing an apartment from him in Tampa but was being evicted for non-payment of rent. Barone says he is appealing the eviction order. Also, Barone's mother, Catherine Barone, whose address Barone was using as his residency, told the commission he did not live with her and that a restraining order against him has been in place for about 3 years. She later declined to comment on the reason for the order. Timothy Barone claimed it is a, quote, bogus restraining order, which a lawyer advised his mother to get when she asked her son to move out and he refused. He told the commission he has never been threatening or violent toward his mother in any way and called the restraining order malicious prosecution. He also said he was never formally evicted from his mother's home, saying a judge dismissed the eviction notice from his mother. As for the Florida residency, Barone told the Sun Chronicle following a hearing that he signed a lease with Purdon because he needed housing while participating in a medical program with a holistic doctor in Florida to treat some chronic illnesses. The signed lease agreement, which was attached to the formal complaint filed by Purdon, stated that Barone's lease was from February 16th to September 15th. Barone said he was originally only supposed to stay for the duration of the 6-week program, and that Purdon told him he could end the lease early. However, Barone said he ended up staying longer to work with more doctors. I went to Florida for cancer treatments. I can live half the year in another state and still keep my residency, Barone said in his text to the Sun Chronicle. Barone cited residency requirements under Massachusetts law that state that even if a person's domicile is out of state, if they spend more than 183 days of the taxable year in Massachusetts, they are still considered a state resident. Barone told the commission he only lived out of state for 5 months. Barone said he currently lives with a friend on County Street and stays with others in the city, though he still keeps many belongings at his mother's house. Barone's text also said, Harvard 30-year lawyer who handles thousands of cases a year in housing court states fact, my Attleboro address is my residency. Multiple commission members said that since Barone is not allowed at his mother's residence without police escort due to the restraining order, there wasn't enough evidence to suggest he is a resident of the city. Barone also left a phone message with a reporter in which he said, it's been nothing but attacks on me ever since I announced I was going to run for office in 2022. I must be doing something right. He also sent another text to a reporter quoting former Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius saying, you will be attacked for doing the right thing. Do it anyway. Barone did not respond by press time to a reporter's return phone call. Sharon Fortune, election Gillette's office manager could not be reached by press time on whether she had been notified of an appeal by Barone. Foxborough has problem with Morgan Wallen. Country star fined nearly $16,000 for violating curfew at Gillette show by Stephen Peterson. Foxborough. Country star Morgan Wallen has been fined almost $16,000 for violating the town's curfew for a Gillette Stadium show last weekend. Wallen performed sold-out shows Friday and Saturday night at the Route 1 home of the New England Patriots and exceeded the 11:30 curfew by 14 minutes Friday. Fireworks added to the length of the concerts. The fine is based on 25 cents per fan. The concerts featured guests being brought on stage, including New England Patriot coach Mike Vrabel and former Patriot star Rob Gronkowski. The shows were part of Wallen's I'm the Problem tour. It was the CMA Entertainer of the Year's first time at Gillette. Wallen, 32, was joined by opening acts Zach John King, Corey Kent, and Miranda Lambert. His Saturday night show concluded Gillette's 2025 concert season. Other performers have been fined for violating the town curfew, including Bruce Springsteen, who played until nearly midnight in 2016. The boss is known for his lengthy concerts. Elizabeth Banks to play Karen Reed in Prime series by Taylor Sanzo. Another popular crime case is heading to the television screen in a new series. Elizabeth Banks will play Karen Reed in an upcoming limited Prime Video series about a Massachusetts case that garnered attention from across the country, Deadline reported. Banks, who grew up in Pittsfield, will serve as executive director for the project with her producing partner, Max Handelman, and Chrissy Wall, the outlet said. The series will be based on the Law and Crime and Wondery podcast, Karen, following the trial that made Reed a household name. When a Boston police officer is found dead in the snow, all eyes are on his girlfriend, Karen Reed, Deadline wrote. Fracturing a community, some believe she's guilty of first-degree murders, but others believe she's the victim of a sweeping cover-up by state and local law enforcement. The outlet noted the series explores society's obsession with true crime, allure to conspiracy, and the deepening crisis of trust in institutions. Banks has previously worked with Prime Video, starring in the hit series The Better Sister. Other acting credits include The Hunger Games, The Lego Movie, Pitch Perfect, and The 40-Year-Old Virgin. Reed, 45, formerly of Mansfield, was tried twice for the death of her police officer boyfriend, John O'Keefe. She was charged with second-degree murder, among other crimes, but her first trial ended in a hung jury, and her second trial ended in her acquittal on the most serious charges against her. She was, however, convicted of driving drunk and given a year's probation. Norfolk's top cop retiring. Hines bowing out after distinguished four-decade career by Stephen Peterson, Norfolk. Police Chief Timothy Hines is retiring after a 38-year career with the local department, in which he ushered in several improvements and also distinguished himself with multiple acts of bravery. Hines is officially retiring September 30th, but to ensure a smooth transition, he will begin serving in an advisory role Monday until his retirement date, town officials announced. Hines began in 1987 as a Norfolk public safety dispatcher. He went on to serve as a reserve police officer in 1988 before being hired as a full-time police officer in 1989. In 1999, he was promoted to sergeant, and his leadership roles included field training officer, emergency communications center supervisor, detective liaison, fire investigator, peer support officer, and infectious control officer. In 2021, he was promoted to lieutenant and oversaw the operations of the department. Just a year later, Hines was named police chief, replacing Charles Stone, who served as chief for nearly 3 decades. During his tenure as chief, Hines has made significant advancements for the department, town officials say. They included enrolling the agency in the Massachusetts Police Accreditation Program, establishing operational and strategic planning for major community events, supporting and implementing a comprehensive officer wellness program, and creating and strengthening the department's traffic division. In Wrentham, Hines served as a call firefighter/EMT from 1987 to 2018, an auxiliary firefighter from 1985 to 1987, a special police officer from 1988 to 1989, and a public safety dispatcher from 1987 to 1989. Officials pointed out his career involved numerous acts of bravery and impactful contributions, including rescuing a fire victim from a burning structure, helping apprehend a dangerous escaped fugitive, finding an emotionally distressed individual and preventing self-harm, assisting with childbirth during a severe snowstorm, and finding a missing and endangered person after more than 24 hours. He also received the Mass Cop Union's President's Award for his life-saving efforts during a condominium explosion in town several years ago. Throughout his career, Hines has received many additional commendations, recognitions, and letters of appreciation from community members, public officials, and professional organizations. The town of Norfolk and the Norfolk Police Department congratulate Chief Hines on his illustrious career and wish him the best in retirement, the town said in a statement. Under Along the Way, Boston to D.C. train gets rolling. New high-speed rail service between Boston and Washington began Wednesday. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy and Amtrak President Roger Harris were part of the launch, riding the new Amtrak Next Gen Acela from D.C.'s Union Station to Boston's South Station. There will be 28 new trains featuring service through 2027, featuring 27% more seats and expanded weekday and weekend service. Youth Climate Council has openings. High school sophomores, juniors, and seniors are being sought to serve on Governor Maura Haley's Youth Climate Council. The council advises the governor and the Office of Climate Innovation and Resilience on important climate-related initiatives and solutions. This is a valuable opportunity for students who are passionate about climate action and want to make a difference, said Catherine McGree, Legislative Affairs Liaison in the governor's office. The deadline to apply for the council is Monday. To do so, or for more info, visit mass.gov/form/apply-for-the-youth-climate-council. Learn more about Old Wrentham Inn. Proctor Mansion Inn proprietors Brian and Don Fitzgerald will give a presentation at 4 p.m. Wednesday, September 3rd at the Foxborough Community Center. They will share captivating stories about the mansion's fascinating history, including its possible connection to the Underground Railroad. The inn overlooks the town common and was built in 1861 by industrialist Thomas Proctor. It is recognized as one of the top 10 most significant Victorian homes in the country and has even played a starring role in feature films. Today, it is a full-service bed and breakfast. Sign up in advance for the presentation. And fair season is coming soon. The Sun Chronicle will be running its annual listing of fall church and other nonprofit fairs in September. Once again, we will be collaborating with the Attleboro Area Interfaith Collaborative. If you are not on their list and would like to be on ours, please send a brief, 50 words or fewer, announcement of your event, including its name, dates, times, address, a summation of what will be offered, and contact info for the public if desired. Submit your items by Monday, September 1st to news@thesunchronicle.com. What's open and closed on Labor Day? Labor Day is Monday, September 1st. Open, most stores and restaurants. Closed, all municipal, county, state, and federal offices, along with schools and libraries, courts, and most banks. There will be no postal delivery. The MBTA is on a weekend schedule, and Gatra has no service. The Sun Chronicle will publish a paper, but business offices are closed. Trash pickup will be delayed by 1 day all week in Attleboro, North Attleboro, Plainville, Mansfield, Wrentham, and Seekonk. Theater group coming to Patriot Place will take over space formerly occupied by Showcase Live and Helix Esports by Jeff Peterson, Foxborough, with the curtain expected to rise on a revival of the landmark musical Oklahoma in less than 2 months. Select board members this week set the stage for a new theatrical partnership at Patriot Place. Board members Tuesday night approved 7 one-day liquor licenses for the New England Public Theater, which will be taking over the space at 23 Patriot Place, formerly occupied by Showcase Live and Helix Esports. According to John Mayle of Sharon, founder and artistic director of the Regional Theater, the space can accommodate up to 200 patrons, depending on the seating configuration. We're committed to bringing innovative, interesting, thought-provoking pieces to this region, Mayle said. I want to make it clear this is not just a Foxborough thing. We want to serve all the surrounding communities. Performances are scheduled for October 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, and the following weekend on October 17th, 18th, and 19th. Strictly speaking, the one-day pouring licenses have been issued to B. Hoppy, LLC, which operates the Wormtown Tap Room at Patriot Place, and has been contracted to provide beer and wine service before and during performances. Darren Sutton, general manager of the Wormtown Tap Room, will be on hand to oversee liquor service in the new theater space, with pre-packaged bar food available as concessions. Under the one-day serving license, all liquor inventory must be transported to the site no more than 24 hours before the event in question and removed afterwards. Board member Amy Lebrecht voiced enthusiasm for having another live theater option for area residents. We're fortunate to have the Orpheum, but to have another one coming in, I love it, she said. 11-0 Pickleball. In an unrelated application involving one-day liquor licenses at Patriot Place, 11-0 Pickleball was granted 30 one-day pouring licenses to be utilized between August 20th and September 15th. Select board members on Tuesday had been scheduled to vote on an application for an on-premises all-alcohol restaurant license for 11-0 Pickleball, but regulatory delays involving the State Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission prompted a temporary change in plans. According to attorney Thomas Miller, a senior associate at McDonald, Quilty, Miller, and Hanley, the applicants are seeking to provide liquor service for patrons at 11-0's outdoor pickleball courts, which have already opened during late summer and early fall. It will just operate at this point under a different license until we can finalize everything and get everything in place, Miller explained. Board members are now slated to act on 11-0's permanent license application, which would also cover the adjacent indoor facility, at their scheduled meeting on September 9th. Chick-fil-A. Lastly, board members with no discussion approved a common victualler's license for the new Chick-fil-A location at Patriots Place, which is expected to open this fall. The Foxborough location is one of 7 new Chick-fil-A restaurants scheduled to open this year. Rhode Island inmate sentenced for smuggling by Sun Chronicle staff. Central Falls, Rhode Island. An inmate at the Wyatt Detention Center has been sentenced to an additional year in prison for smuggling drugs into the facility. Anthony White, 50, received multiple documents from a visitor in May 2023 that were believed to be contaminated by a substance, authorities said. FBI analysis determined one of the 8 pages was treated with a synthetic cannabis compound, they said. Court documents show White arranged for the delivery through recorded telephone conversations made at the prison, which is not far from the Attleboro line. He was sentenced on the charges of conspiracy and providing and possessing contraband in prison. In sports, Patriots release Bourne. Day after making the roster, WR gets his request to move on by Sean T. McGuire for the Sun Chronicle. Foxborough. Kendrick Bourne survived the 53-man roster cutdown, but apparently did not wish to remain with the New England Patriots. The Patriots released Bourne on Wednesday after the veteran wide receiver requested to be released, as first reported by NFL Media's Tom Pelissero. Pelissero issued a follow-up report noting the Patriots had trade interest in Bourne prior to his release. Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel offered a cryptic response when asked about handling situations in which players request to be released. Both veteran safety Marcus Epps and Bourne reportedly requested to be released by the Patriots within the last week. Yeah, that's news to me, Vrabel said. Again, try to put the roster together. I guess when it doesn't work out or you break up with somebody, your girlfriend doesn't want to be with you, and then you say, well, I don't want to be with you either. I'm not going to get into all that. When asked if that's what happened with Bourne, Vrabel replied, we're not going to go back and forth here. We're trying to build a roster. Got to move on from some guys. In other wide receiver news, the Patriots also released Javon Baker after claiming quarterback Tommy DeVito and defensive back Charles Woods. New England reportedly hopes to sign Baker to its 53-man roster if he clears waivers. The Patriots now have 6 wide receivers on the active roster, with Stefon Diggs, Demario Douglas, Keyshawn Booth, Mac Hollins, Kyle Williams, and Efton Chisholm III. Jalen Polk was placed on injured reserve. Spotlight on golf's leading ladies. Rockland's Kang, LPGA's Hidden Caitlin Clark's Open FM Championship by Lauren Campbell, Norton. Caitlin Clark's influence on the WNBA has not only helped get more eyes on the league, but has helped with the growth of women's sports. The LPGA features big names like Megan Kang, Nelly, last year's FM championship winner Heiran Ryu, runner-up Jin Young Ko, and Gino Thitical and Nelly Corda, the top 2 ranked players. The sport doesn't need someone like Clark. The growth of women's golf speaks for itself, as does the more than 25,000 people who attended last year's FM championship. Megan Kang knows it would certainly benefit women's golf to have someone of her caliber, but believes the LPGA has those kinds of players already. It would be great to have a Caitlin Clark, but there are so many hidden Caitlin Clarks that the fans don't know about, the Rockland native said Wednesday at TPC Boston. For the first time, I think Lydia Ko is playing, Kang added. Lydia has been such a fixture on the LPGA. Ko, who will make her FM championship debut on Thursday, has 23 LPGA career wins, 115 top 10 finishes, and 169 top 25 finishes. Corda is ranked as the number 2 golfer and has 5 top 10 finishes this season. The LPGA Tour features golfers from all over the world. Players from the Korean LPGA and Japan LPGA travel to the United States to take part in events and other tournaments. And they come to play at TPC Boston, a course that when Hall of Famer Pat Bradley was playing, wouldn't have been invited to. We were the mothership of women's golf. We were the mothership, and we opened the doors for golf to be global, for players to come and play here and to show their talents and prove their skills, Bradley told Mass Live. They knew that we were the place to come. They know in order to prove their greatness, they have to come here to our country to play the LPGA Tour to know if they're great or not, she continued. They can stay in their own country and have a beautiful Korean LPGA, Taiwan LPGA, but they know they have to come to the United States, the LPGA, to prove their greatness and become great. Ryu, last year's FM championship winner, is from South Korea and first joined the LPGA in 2023. Since then, she has had 3 wins, including the 2025 Black Desert Championship. Despite the names on the tour and the more than 25,000 attending last year's FM championship, Kang knows the LPGA isn't as fortunate to get the coverage she believes the tour deserves, but thinks the best way to get more exposure is for fans to come see it themselves. I think we do such a great job with in-person interactions, King said. If you come out, come to an LPGA event. You're going to get the girls signing autographs until the last one is done. You're going to get some interactions with the fans and having a good banter here and there. I know the LPGA is such a great product. We just have to get in the right limelight to really exude that. Today in history. On August 28, 1963, during the March on Washington, the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his I Have a Dream speech before an estimated 250,000 people in front of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. Also on this date, in 1845, the first issue of Scientific American magazine was published. It remains the oldest continuously published magazine in the United States. In 1898, pharmacist Caleb Bradham of New Bern, North Carolina, changed the name of the carbonated beverage he had created 5 years earlier from Brad's Drink to Pepsi Cola. And in 1955, Emmett Till, a black teenager from Chicago, was abducted from his uncle's home in Money, Mississippi by 2 white men after he had allegedly whistled at a white woman 4 days prior. He was found brutally slain 3 days later. Thank you for listening. This has been Tracy reading to you from the Sun Chronicle.